everyone. Welcome to the 30th installment of the BDE Sports Talk podcast with your hosts, Bill, Dean, and Eddie. Good to see you guys. As always, how's everyone doing tonight?
Doing good. Doing good.
Yeah, whatever, man. What are you doing?
Just
Why are you yelling at us? Could you just get the show going? I don't know what's going on here.
I just want to know how you are doing.
Oh, how am I doing? Yeah, I'm all right.
Good.
I'm a little pissed.
So-
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Jeez. A little feisty. Well,
Grab it and
This-
twist.
the old dick twist. Oh, man. Well, speaking of twists, this week we're going to get into the Lions loss and what Saturday is going to look like. We're going to
That
touch
did
on
feel like a twist.
Yeah, we're going to touch on the old historic Pistons. A
Oh.
little bit of Red Wings talk.
Double twist.
and, and what is going on with the back end and if things can get better on that end. Also going to start easing into a little college basketball, and of course,
Triple twist.
we have the third edition of the college team name game. So
I haven't missed one yet.
Yep.
Not one. Neither have I.
You did,
That's a lie, dude. What
did
team
go
has
12-0
the nickname
last
the
week.
Dukes?
The Dookies, baby. I can't remember.
That's a bald-faced lie.
Well, we'll see how Dean does this week. But first and foremost, Dean, how's your weekend?
It was good. I went down to Marshall this weekend. My buddy's getting married next weekend, so we went out. Got drunk. I don't know. It's a good time. And then,
Bachelor party?
Yeah, kind of. I was just kind of taking him out because it's like not really.
Oh,
Like, you're
okay.
getting-
Oh, so it's
you
just
know,
you and your buddy.
Yeah, they're gonna do a thing later on. So I was like, oh well, at least you got to do something.
The wedding?
Like
Is that the thing they're doing
reception-
later on?
The reception and stuff like that. The wedding is next weekend, this coming weekend. But there's just small like courthouse. So
Oh, that's awesome.
so that'll be
Yeah.
good. But I had I saw this meme a while back about when restaurants name their food weird things, and then you have to order it, like the Big Wet Daddy Burger and you know what I mean? Stuff like that. I had that type of experience. I went to Culver's, right? And they got this new sauce called the Boom Boom sauce. And so and it was plastered up on their thing. I'm like, okay, all right. I was like, I'll get, can I get 2 cups of the Boom Boom sauce? And the lady was like, what? What is that? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, it's not real. And she was, oh, the Boom Boom sauce. Like, yes, please. And all I could think of was just like, why do you gotta name it that?
He's like, you're supposed to say daddy afterwards.
Oh, you mean the Boom Boom Daddy sauce?
That's why it was
Man.
confusing.
Yeah. So, but other than that, it was a pretty good weekend.
Nice,
Nice.
man.
Eddie?
I finally watched. I set time aside to watch Bye Bye Barry. Have you
Mhm.
watched the full thing again yet, Bill?
No. Well, that's okay.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Yeah, I'll skip over it. It's
Mhm.
fine.
No.
Let's wait
no,
till
it's
you've
fine.
watched it.
Dude,
Because I was
kinda
on
figured
board
out.
with Dean. The one thing he had said beforehand. You know,
Mhm.
I mean, F Chuck Smith. You got that far?
For sure.
No.
Oh, well, then never mind. You'll know as soon as it comes up.
It's something you gotta watch organically.
It
for
won't
sure.
take you 30 halves of a second, dude. It'll just be like, oh yeah, no, I hate that guy. And it does.
There's not
And
even
he's
a lot
mentioned
about
the one time in the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah, that's it. And you're just like, man, what's that guy? Like, for real. On the real level.
But speaking of Boom Boom sauce,
It was delicious, by the way. I will say. I'll order it.
was it? What did it taste like?
It was like a creamy buffalo, but like not. I don't know. It was boom
A
boom.
creamy buffalo?
It was
Is it
busted.
like Boom Boom Shrimp? Is that what it is? Is that what's called? Oh,
Very possible that it is exactly like Boom Boom Shrimp, but Dean will never. Oh, there.
It's kind of like boom boom shrimp. No, I don't know. It's hard to describe, honestly, but it's got like a buffalo flavor to it. So, but it was good.
Well, I saw that there's a restaurant in Japan that has their own unique flavor of experience. I was gonna try and pronounce the name of the restaurant, but then I'm like, yeah, that's probably offensive to somebody. Even though we're Asian.
we are Asian.
So can I get away
I
with
say
it?
that all the time. I say that all the time. I say that all the time to Kate. I'm like, Asian people are the worst drivers. And she's like, you can't say that. I said, yes, I can. I'm Asian.
And you are a bad driver.
I can be.
No,
It's
but I saw
scary.
this. I'm like, dude, people are so weird, man. I mean, not that we didn't know it, but like people pay at this Japanese restaurant to get freaking slapped by the waitresses. Like this, they had so many requests for this that they had to hire more waitresses.
Line them up.
For yeah, dude. It's like, isn't that weird at some point?
That's kind of hot.
That's not
I
for
get-
me. You know I got
boom, boom,
sensitive
shrimp
skin.
and a slap.
I ain't trying to get slapped, man. I'll have a handprint on my face for the rest of the meal, and I'll feel it the whole time.
And I'll feel it.
I
No,
do. If you see that
that's
handprint
crazy.
puff up on me like that, I feel it. I feel the handprint the whole time until it's
Really?
gone. It's my superpower. But yeah, dude, I was like, dang, man, like, what could you get away with? Like, what else? I don't know. Like a nip pincher? I mean, I didn't think this far ahead. I wasn't thinking I was gonna say.
Isn't there that one place that like you get spanked or whatever?
Yeah.
With like
Yeah.
a paddle
there?
and stuff?
Beard meets food.
Yeah, it was on
He's
Beer
like,
Meat Food.
I've
It was on Beer Meat Food.
heard.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah. It's
I
like
made
the
it.
Heart Attack Grill.
You're like, what's the name of this restaurant in Japan? Finally ready to take a vacation.
Finally.
I really want to travel abroad.
One-way trip, baby.
Yeah. They can't
Now
kick
I
me
do
out.
the spanking. We see Dean 3 years later. He's like, now I do the spanking.
We're in one of those sumo diapers or whatever.
I'd be huge.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. That was it popped up on.
On a hub of sorts.
Hey man, don't worry. Why or when things pop up on my feed, they just do. But it was a story from somewhere
My
earlier this
incognito
month.
feed.
If you make a profile that fits your niche better.
Hey man, but I thought that was funky. I don't know.
Oh, that's funny. My weekend. Well, my weekend's good, but I had a thought of, and this is kind of somewhat related to sports because it's professional wrestling, but not funny at all compared to what the Boom Boom Sauce and Eddie's internet searches.
Is that something
but
you want to see? That's how you make boom boom sauce. Welcome to Culver's.
That's why it tastes so good. That was weird. They said stir it before I just.
They do custard for Culver's. So.
They do custard.
Oh, that's funny. Mine is more of a like professional wrestling, because obviously, like when we were kids, that was like the boom of wrestling, right? Like obviously when Hulk Hogan was, huge in the 80s than Hulkamania and whatever, but like the Attitude Era was pretty much the
Well,
height.
that was our
What
prime
many
area for
people
us, for
say
sure.
is the height of wrestling.
Definitely.
So,
I mean, we were at the perfect age for the
Yeah.
Attitude Era to
yeah,
be going. Like, we didn't think we were too cool or whatever, you know. I was just
yeah,
trying to explain that to my younger son today. I'm like, just try to remember it is fun to watch.
right,
Like, it's awesome until you're like 14, and then you hate it for no reason, and then you get older and you're like, oh, this is a good show.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Just a
and
TV
so
show.
This
yeah,
is a TV show.
but giving cr- giving credit to AEW because
Hmm.
I feel like AEW truly has made WWE better, a much better
Oh,
product. Um, just because, like, what we just talked about, wrestling kind of became stale with WWE, when The Rock came back in like 2011, that kind of had me interested, but for the most part, it was like, and then AEW comes around and now it's not a monopoly on wrestling, right? Like, yeah, there's
can I
other
just
indie.
say, in like those
Yeah.
years, like 2013-ish to like 2016, I mean, I was way more into like interested in watching like New Japan. Like that was just good. Like those matches were, I mean, and then like it leads into kind of what you're talking about, where Omega ended up at AEW. Like that's what he was big in New Japan at that time, and it was like, man, like this is like good stuff.
Mhm.
Sorry,
He's a good
I'm just
wrestler too.
keep jumping in on your stuff here.
No, you're fine. I'm glad we had the same weekend thought. Uh, but um, it is
But yeah,
it,
when you
it
get back into New
yeah,
Japan, like it's
yeah, it's crazy. Um,
Kazuchika Okada. I mean, come on.
it did become kind of stale. AEW comes along, and it just made them better. Now you look at WWE, and their roster's loaded, and they've got good storylines and everything else. And I don't know. I was just thinking about that. And one thing I did want to ask you, I'm assuming you guys probably watched Monday night or last night,
Yep, some of it.
No, I
some of it.
haven't seen yesterday.
Oh, not at all.
Uh,
Oh, never mind then. I'll just wait. We'll wait.
I mean,
Um,
is it big?
no. Well, I mean, for to talk about on here, you'd have to see it. So we'll talk about it some other time. It's not a big
Sorry.
deal. No, the main thing was like how AEW has made wrestling as a whole better, even if it's not AEW so much.
For sure.
Competition, like with anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, speaking of competition, the Lions got some competition on Sunday. um, Chicago beats the Lions at Soldier Field 28-13. We'll go quick stats here. Jared Goff was especially good 20-35, 161, one touchdown, two interceptions. Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery both had 66 yards rushing. They had even carries, actually. 11 carries for Gibbs, 10 carries for Montgomery.
Not enough.
Josh Reynolds had 44 yards on 3 catches and a touchdown. Justin Fields was 19 of 33 for 223 and a touchdown. He was also the team's leading runner, 12 carries for 58 yards and touchdown. DJ Moore, six catches, 68 yards, 1 touchdown.
He
Rough.
rushed the touchdown, right?
Yes. Yep. Rough Sunday. I said this to Dean on Sunday. It kind of confirmed in my head my choice for team MVP. At the time when we were doing team MVPs and rookies so far, in where how the team has looked with how Goff has played over the last,
Mm, yeah.
3-4 weeks or
You picked
whatever.
Goff, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Mhm.
And um, having different linemen out doesn't help. Um, but some of the decisions he's made have been head scratching, right? To put it mildly. Um, Also the same with coaching. Like, um, I felt like Gibbs should have gotten more carries than what he did. Especially in that weather. I think we all know at this point, Goff's not a great outdoor quarterback when it comes to weather. Right. I don't know how many games I've seen where he's been even average. And it showed again,
And
right?
I
Like
think that was
it
our
wasn't
last
great.
outdoor game, right? Until the postseason,
It
potentially.
might, yeah, it might be.
Play
Um,
Philly in Philly.
is Minnesota in a
Hmm?
dome?
Yeah. Yeah, they had to
It
they
is.
had to
It is.
dome
It
it.
is. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um. So in a game where um you knew golf wasn't going to be good, uh, even just from weather, right? He's just never been that quarterback. He's always, we've talked about it before. He's lived on the West Coast his whole life. You know what I mean? Like it's always you went to Cal, you played for the Chargers, what you know the story by now. So I thought maybe, especially I felt Gibbs looked pretty good to maybe get
Mhm.
him more touches than what he got. Um, yeah, I don't know. I've never been more confused than I am now with how they are. It worries me. I'm not throwing in the towel by any stretch of the imagination. This is still one of the best starts we've ever seen in our lifetime. I mean,
Since
at this point,
'62, right?
I believe it's 62. You
Was
know,
it '62?
where and fans have a right to criticize. I mean, I've talked about fans
Of
before.
course.
Fans have a right to criticize, but at the same time, I get wanting to, but this team, we've never seen this. This is not, and it's weird. It's almost like expectation for this franchise, and it's like let's pump the brake. Let's enjoy what we got. Right, like Sunday sucked, obviously, but in the grand scheme of things, for them to still be in they're probably. I'm not. You know what? I'm not even gonna say it because James Houston saying he's excited to get back for the playoffs kind of worried me. Like I was like, oh, dude, there's still some games to play. Like,
Yeah, right.
so um with that said, I get you're gonna criticize and it's fair. I mean, it's a fair assessment. You criticize the defense, Aaron Glenn, um, Ben, you're really even Ben Johnson, you know. Um, so
I mean,
I
he
get
deserves
it.
some
It's
of that
just
for sure.
yeah.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I just want to say like enjoy this for what it is right now because we easily could be
The failure that it is.
yeah, it's a failure. We'll see. We'll see. So anyways, with that said, Dean, what were your takeaways and how do you feel going forward?
I mean, I still feel the same. They'd beaten the Bears like 5 times before. I mean, you're facing a team twice a year. I mean, once you've beaten them 2 years in a row, at some point, you expect that team to win. And if you play the way that they did in the second half, then I mean, that's just kind of how it's going to go. I mean, I honestly felt like Ben Johnson had a good amount of the blame of that, just on play
Mhm.
calling and the personnel that were in, the guys that were getting involved. I mean, St. Brown and Laporta only had like 5 catches combined together. I know like the weather and Goff didn't play great, but you
Mhm.
got to get those guys involved any way you can. I mean, you
Especially
can't have
Laporta.
right. You can't have St. Brown only having 2 catches. What You know what I mean? Like he's
Couple
one of our
drops,
best
too.
offensive player. That's true. But then again, you
That's
think
disappointing.
weather and then the balls that Goff is throwing. I mean, I don't know if you guys. I've only seen him throw a spiral a couple of times. Like I can probably count a lot of them on one hand. Or, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I mean, that's just fair. And I get he's getting it out quick, whatever. But I kind of think he's showing that he may not necessarily be the future of the franchise. I mean, he's good for us right now. I think he was the perfect guy to get. But I think he's kind of showing that he's not like the full on re-sign type of future. I don't know what they have planned. I mean, I know those guys believe in him, and I do too currently. But it was tough to watch. I mean, I also kind of thought you started seeing some of the holes that they had talked about at the beginning of the year on defense and offense. And I mean, obviously they need to be addressed, and you got to work with what you got. But injuries play a big role in that. Like you said, the offensive line got shuffled, but in the end, they only moved Graham to center, and then they had Sorsdal in. So it's like they had all their other starting offensive linemen out there. I mean, I get Sorsdal has been rough at guard for sure. He has been an issue, but I don't know. I mean, you expect it's division opponent. You expect these losses to happen every now and then, hopefully that just doesn't become a habit.
Yeah. No, for sure, man. I mean, to me, it's well documented that I hate the Bears a lot.
Good thing we didn't go to Soldier Field.
Hey, man.
He's
I'd love to be there for that
somebody.
too. I'd love to be there for that too. Yeah, I mean that's my problem is that I would love to be there for that too. That's really why I shouldn't be there.
Day one-ish.
Dude, I don't even
Just
know what
get
I'd
one
say.
Get your wife.
But I would
here.
I would do enough to make somebody upset for sure. And then you go from there. But to me, I don't know, I was a little embarrassed after the second quarter. The first quarter was embarrassing. The second quarter, they did all right. The rest of the game was also embarrassing. I hated it. I mean, the key number was 3. We got 3 sacks. In the first quarter, I didn't hate Fields getting some of those runs.
No. Pressure.
I mean, I didn't love it, obviously, that he made it happen. But like we've talked about before, he had to run those because he was getting the pressure around him. So it was like, if that's what he has to do for them to be successful, I'll take that. But that didn't happen all game. We had 3 sacks. Obviously, we lost the turnover battle 3-0. Another terrible performance by Goff playing against Chicago for some reason. Last time wasn't in outside, so it's like it. I don't know, man. It was disappointing, to say the least. That's it. I know. I'm with you, Dean, that it's a team we've beaten a bunch of times in a row, and it's a divisional opponent. It's a rival, all that stuff. But that's a team we should beat.
Not wrong.
Even at their place. And I know you agree. I understand it. And maybe it's getting a little more of a heated rivalry. It seems like there's tensions are really there between those two teams. And I kind of really love that. But I was hoping that would propel them into a more fierce situation where they took it more personal. Because I think that's what a lot of this team is built on, is personal feeling.
Family vendettas.
Yeah, I mean, and that the chip, all that stuff, like it's all very personal for a lot of the guys. Like they all had something to prove. And I've talked about it with Goff before, that I think he's gotten too comfortable with his situation. And I'm wondering if he's played himself out of a contract, a big contract. And I wonder if that's probably, I don't know if that's, I feel like maybe that's fortunate. I don't know. It's so hard to know, dude, because you can go through a slump. It's not like the Chiefs are undefeated. And I would take Patrick Mahomes 10 times out of 10, dude. I mean, I think they got the same record, right? I think they're 9-4. So, what are we talking about
Actually,
sometimes?
I
But
think they're 8-5.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
they're
they're 8-5.
so I don't know if I wouldn't Dallas has got a better record. I wouldn't take Dak Prescott over Jared Goff. He could be better, but I don't think it's like such a huge net
Right.
positive
Yeah.
to where
How
you're
much
like,
of
oh
an
my
upgrade
gosh,
is
now we
that?
have Dak. We're a definite Super Bowl team,
Right. Yeah.
but he's probably better. I'm just saying, in a relative situation, like and that goes also to what Bill said. Let's appreciate where we're at. 9-4 is pretty awesome, but we are on the ropes. Let's not beat around that bush, dude. They have not been playing well the last 3-4 weeks, even against the Saints. I mean, they should have crushed them. I mean, we were, and then let them
Stagnant.
way back in, dude.
How
We could have lost that easy.
Easily. Yeah.
do you think that their teams are starting to figure them out? Do you
I
think,
do.
that they played above their talent level early and now teams are catching up now that they've gotten tape, now that they've seen their tendencies and everything else, and due to lack, because they're terrible in the third quarter. They're
Yeah.
absolutely horrendous in the third quarter. So, and I watched Dan Campbell's press conference, and he did say, he was like, I'd rather be a better fourth quarter team than a third quarter team, but we just weren't today. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but you need to be a decent third quarter team. You're not even a below average third quarter team. You're probably one of the worst in the league in the third quarter. Like they just don't I don't know what it is. Like they come out of halftime and they're flat, completely flat.
Mm-hmm.
And you can chalk it up to adjustments, but how many games are you going to be the one that gets adjusted on and you're not the one who made adjustments?
Exactly.
And then you're taking that momentum into the fourth quarter, and it's like, what are you doing now? Now your opponent is, you know, full bore ahead, and now you're trying to pick up the pace.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No. Yeah. No. Definitely. I agree with you 100% on a lot of that because they're that's the thing. You're good in the first half, and you have to be prepared for the adjustments that the other team's going to make.
Right.
I can't imagine they're not thinking about this,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You want to keep doing what's working. I agree. Because if you're not doing what's working and then you fail because you switched it up trying to be cute, people are going to be like, why wouldn't you stick with what's working? Which also makes sense. But the other team is going to move. So by the halfway point in the third quarter, you have already got to be working on those adjustments with whatever team is not on the field. Because obviously something has changed. They made theirs, now it's time for you to make yours again. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be happening. Or maybe it's just happening way late. It's frustrating because you can't how many times you said, I mean, you can't run the same thing over and over and hope that
Right.
it's just going to work out all of a sudden. I do think
Right.
they've been figured out a little. I think Ben Johnson's been figured out a little. I think also part of like switching out these offensive because that's such a big part of his offense is the moving offensive linemen. Having those injuries is affecting that for sure. I mean, Graham Glasgow isn't going to pull like Frank Ragnow.
It's
He's
true.
just not. He's a good lineman, but he's not going to do the same things Frank Ragnow, who is really an all-pro type of guy. He's not going to do that.
So it's
Awasika is not going to do what Jonah Jackson does every time. Even Vaitai, for the 10 games over 3 years that we've seen him healthy, those guys can't do what that level of guy does. They can come in and spell you for a half. maybe another game. But yeah, no, I hear, dude. Yeah, they're just not.
Well, and it's not just offense. The defense is.
To
I
me,
mean,
that was
look
the
at
issue. This game was the
right,
offense.
but if you, I mean, look at last week, and it's been a common theme with Aaron Glenn. It's like they're getting outscored in the third quarter almost weekly. Look at last week.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
mean, the Saints came out with a completely different game plan in the second half. I mean, they were up what? Lines were up like 24-7 at halftime.
Yeah, something like that.
You know where I'm
You
at
know?
with AG. He's not an adjuster guy. And this is something I'm going to get into when we get into the Broncos. Some of the stuff that I hope they start to think about. But yeah, he has not done what I think he should have what he should be doing in game for sure. He's usually got a pretty good plan going into the game, and then through the game, as I've said, and we've all talked about before, just kind of sticks, and just hope that rides out the rest of the way. But it's like, come on, dude. Is that what you thought as a player? I guarantee that's not your mindset when you were a player.
Right.
I think you get away from that a little bit. You start just seeing it as pieces as opposed to how would I have done it when I was there? How would I have changed this if I could have called it on the field when I was a premier corner or safety in the league? Those guys would call it differently. And that's why I think it starts out great, because he sees the personnel on the other side. He knows what he's got, and he goes, okay, this is exactly how I would want it lined up. But then as the game moves forward, it just feels like he's not seeing it more, not thinking about it as a player, which is what people love about that staff. He's not necessarily seeing it as a player as much as he is just like, thinking you're Bill Belichick or something,
Right.
And maybe I'm way overstating it or thinking it, but I think there's so much value to have been a player, to stay in that mindset as a player when you're coaching. And I think that's what happens with Dan Campbell too, as far as going for it. I love that he goes for it. I'm not going to back off. I don't disagree with him going for it. It just, you can't go for it every time, dude. You can't go for it in your own territory every time.
Right.
Like, that's just on 4th and 10 on our side of the field and not a pressure situation.
Right.
I know what he's thinking. Like, we get it, right? Like, we're better than these guys. If we just get this first down, then we're going to go get a touchdown.
Right.
I understand it, but those guys are really good too.
Yeah.
And you just got to dial it down. That's kind of what we talked about at the beginning of the year. That was a big change for him halfway through last year, going through this year. He was not playing conservative, but playing it just more commonsensical. Like, you can go for it, dude. You can definitely go for it, but you don't have to go for it from our own 30-yard line in the second quarter.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Dean,
I don't know if you want me to do the PFF guys real quick, but
okay.
I don't know if you want me to. I don't know if it matters. I have them down. I don't have anything to say about them. I mean, at the top of the offense was Sewell, DPJ, Reynolds, Awasika, actually, and Skipper. Bottom of the offense, at the very bottom was Amon-Ra, then Goff. I don't think those were no surprise. Craig Reynolds, J-Mo, Brock, Wright. Bottom of the defense, this was no surprise to me. Also was Anzalone. Rodrigo was second to bottom, but he only had one snap on defense. So I don't, Anzawerke after that. Jerry Jacobs. That's something I'm going to get into during the Broncos game. Top of the defense, Jalen Reeves-Maybin. He did seem to play pretty well, man. I mean,
he did.
He's probably one of our better coverage guys other than Jack Campbell. Who was after that? My handwriting is junk. Kaminsky, Kindle Vildor.
Cuddies.
Kindle, yeah, Cuddies. Kindle, which he, I mean, he was third at the top. He had 17 snaps, and then Melifonwu after that. So, I think that says a bit about what we saw out there too, honestly.
Right. Dean, do you I assume you probably agree with what we were saying. I don't you have anything to add to that as far as like what your thoughts are and how you feel like going forward?
Didn't I say that earlier?
Oh, did you?
I mean, I could continue on if you want. Um,
No, I didn't know, with everything Eddie said, if you had anything to add to that. But
It's hard to
No,
remember anything after I talk for 20 minutes is what he's saying.
I agree. No, I agree fully.
so, all right. Well,
Of course you do.
Lions play the Broncos on Saturday night. Broncos are 6-1 in their last 7, beating the Chargers on Sunday 24-7. Russell Wilson threw for 224 and 2 touchdowns with an interception. Their defense has been pretty good as of late. Dean, we'll start with you. How you feeling? What do you think will happen on Saturday?
Well, if this was at the beginning of the year, I would have said the Lions would win.
Of course.
handily. But I mean, Sean Payton's turning them around a little bit. I mean, being what they're 7-6, 7-5. What are they?
Give credit to the white man, huh? Russell Wilson ain't doing nothing.
They're 7-6.
I was getting to that.
Cortland Sutton ain't doing nothing.
I mean, compared to last year,
But one for Sean Payton.
Terrible. I mean, that was looking like one of the worst trades ever made last year.
Would you cut that
for
part
us?
out,
And then so the Broncos are getting hot at the right time. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's true, but I don't know. It always feels like Russ plays good against Detroit as well. I mean, maybe that's just history with the team just not being great.
It seems like the Seahawks do.
Right, just like in general. Well, we'll see. I guess we'll see if he plays well as a Bronco. I guess.
Yeah,
Let's ride.
we'll see. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, no, it'll be tough. Like you said, the Broncos are tough are hot right now, or their defense is solid right now. As I think that's a pretty typical Broncos team. But their run game is legit. I mean, they can. I mean, they're gonna have to make Russ throw the ball, which is weird to say because that's not necessarily the strength of their team. But I don't know if I want to see that either. So I don't know. I think it'll be a close game. I think they need to give Gibbs and Monty the ball more. I mean, they each only had, like you said, 10 attempts last week apiece. I feel like they should both be at least getting 15, but I don't know. I mean, that's just me. But yeah, no, I hope the Lions win. That's pretty much it.
So Wilson is 3-1 against the Lions.
All's a Seahawk though.
Yeah, right.
I'm surprised we have the one.
I feel like
Can't beat Geno as a Seahawk for crying out loud.
no kidding.
Pete Carroll just knows what's going on. Yeah, along with Dean, I do hope the Lions win for sure. I think the Broncos, I mean, it's the same story every week, dude. If you're not putting pressure back there, it doesn't matter. If you're not winning the turnover battle, it doesn't matter. Like, we can't go down, we can't do 3-0, 4-0, turnovers, and expect to have any chance to really win. Dude, if you can't beat the Bears and you give them 3 turnovers, you got no shot against the Broncos right now. They're too hot and they're playing well. They're a very well coached team, as Dean likes to point out, and they got a good quarterback. I mean, and so what I was thinking defensively when I was talking, I said I was going to talk about a little bit about that, was just how Jerry Jacobs, who's been at the bottom a few times this year, a PFF grade, they've locked into sides on the field. Jerry Jacobs plays one side, not Cortland Sutton, but Cam Sutton plays the other side, and other teams have locked into that. That's how you see other teams putting their better receiver against Jerry Jacobs. And Jerry Jacobs is a very serviceable number 2, number 3 corner. He's just not going to cover the best guy every week unless their best guy isn't that great. So they're starting. Other teams are doing that now. That makes like we shouldn't be worried about the Vikings because they suck. But if Jay Jettas is ready to go,
Yeah,
and
I was just
they
about
put
to
him on
bring
the
that
side of the
up.
field that Jerry Jacobs is on, dude,
So
we're gonna lose.
Yeah,
twice.
I mean, twice, and there's no business losing to the freaking Vikings right now.
they did win
Sutton
Sunday.
on Sutton needs to happen this Sunday or Saturday. Cam on Cortland needs to happen this Saturday. I don't. I know it's an ego thing. I think a bit because then if all of a sudden you're like, hey, Jerry, we just want Cam to cover Cortland Sutton. That's just where we're at right now. Maybe somebody feels sensitive. Maybe I feel more comfortable playing right corner or whatever. It's like you just got to get over it, dude. Like this is
Yeah,
where AG has to step in as the pro and be like, look, dude, I didn't play who I wanted to play over every week. I didn't play the side I wanted to play over every week. This is how it goes. I was an all pro. Listen to me.
right.
You're going to cover the other guy. I need Cam on Cortland this week.
Dre Bly should be saying the same thing too.
Dre Bly should absolutely be saying the same thing. I don't know. It's just frustrating. Those are really the big things for me for this game. If they don't switch it up that way, I mean, Jerry Jacobs can cover Cortland Sutton. He's probably the least of the next 4 games, right? Because we have CeeDee Lamb and then Jay Jettas twice after
Right.
Cortland Sutton.
Right.
Let's start working that. Now would be a great time to work that in. Like, Cam, this is why they signed you. This is why you got the money. I'm not expecting Cam to shut them down on Sutton Island,
Right.
but he's going to be better than Jerry Jacobs.
Yeah.
He has to be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what are we doing? So I hope for that. And I hope, Jared Goff can grip the ball a little bit better. Doesn't throw to the other team as much. I mean, dude, a couple of our completions could have been picks. I'm like, brother, you're playing her close. He doesn't have the Matt Stafford arm strength,
Right.
I mean, he's a good quarterback. I'm not going to dump all over Jared Goff, but it's like, come on, brother. Like you gotta, it's time. Now's the time. We had a little slump here. It happens. We're going into week 15. We need you now. Let's get this division, and then we'll go from there.
Right. And, I think in what Dean said earlier, as far as I think we're starting to see the Jared Goff that has been, that's been talked about for really forever, so
yeah,
hopefully that changes. We'll see what happens. So,
this is an opportunity.
Yeah. So, well, let's get on and let's talk about a winning team. The Pistons. Let's touch on them just real quick. We don't have to spend a lot of time on them. 20 losses in a row.
October 28th.
It's tough to watch. I can't get through a whole game. Like, and the crazy thing about it is, like, was it last night? They played last night? Yeah.
Against the Pacers.
And I watched them, and then I switched over to the Red Wings game, and then I think they were then 2 or they were winning at halftime. I can't remember which, but then
the Pistons,
and then
they're down 5 at half, but it was a good game up until then.
Yeah, and then I look and they lost. So, it's tough to watch a product that bad, like, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know. So the real quick question I wanted to ask, and we'll move on to the Red Wings, is outside of Troy Weaver, because I think it's a unanimous vote who's to blame for this, but outside of Troy Weaver, who do you believe is at fault for what's going on? and I'll go first. I think it's beef stew. No, just kidding. Um, I'd like to I'd like to say it's Monty, but you're given the hand you're dealt, right? Like, especially in your first year. I don't know if
For
he
sure.
knew what he was getting into. The problem is, Dean, you brought it up. I think even it might have been last week or the week before. They have a young core to be good,
Yeah.
you know. And then to Eddie's point too,
Maybe not good, but decent.
uh, more than
Flirting
two
with
Not
that
wins.
20
third,
losses in a
flirting,
row.
flirting with that
Bad.
30 wins, like okay, you know what I mean? But
And you see flashes like Asar defensively, or like when he's driving to the
He even
rim,
got 20 points last night
yeah.
or the other night. Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know. For me, I guess if you were to, the problem is like the unanimous votes, Troy Weaver, right?
Of course.
I mean, if you were to put maybe Gores for not taking more initiative, for not being, like, hey, what is going on? Like, you haven't heard from him. I haven't heard from him the whole season, right? I nothing. Not like, hey, I'm really sorry. I'm embarrassed. I understand your guys' frustrations being fans. Nothing. Not a word. Crazy.
trust the process.
I would take that.
We're going Sixers route, right?
I mean, I would take that.
At least we know
Right.
why we're losing.
Yeah.
Just say
But
it. Say anything.
it's been silent. I haven't read a thing. I haven't seen a thing. I haven't even seen the guy. So for me, I'll take Tom Gores because it's hard to blame Monty in a situation where, when the main person to blame is Troy Weaver. Like you can only coach what you've got. And Cade Asar, and well, Jalen's been hurt, but I mean, you have the makings to be, like you said, serviceable. It's just rough to watch, which is sad. I saw a post the other day. It might have been even yesterday, where it was the team holding up the NBA championship, and all it said was, "I miss this team." And I'm like, you're just like, yep, yep, those were the days, I guess. It's
Different
crazy how
era
that
of
seems so
basketball.
long ago. Yeah.
No doubt.
Speaking of different, before I get your guys' take, actually go ahead, because I'll bring it up in the Red Wings. Dean, do you have any thoughts? I don't know if you just.
Yeah, no, it's well, if we're going off of your original question, I mean, it's hard. As you said, Troy Weaver is definitely the unanimous vote on.
Mm-hmm.
He's putting this team together. He didn't put the right guys together, things like that. But I would blame everybody. I think everybody's a little bit at fault. I mean, the players have to execute whatever Monty's plan is. Monty needs to adjust to his players, and I mean, I'm assuming he is, but you got to kind of go with the flow with that. And then with Gores, just like you said, I mean, he hasn't said anything, he hasn't done anything, he hasn't even been like, hey, we're losing because we're trying to get the number one pick, you know what I mean? Something,
right.
Anything, just to kind of at least put some of the fans at ease. I mean, losing's never going to put anybody at ease, but I don't know. I think they need to start having like Cade come off ball screens, like what Steph Curry does, where he's constantly running. They need somebody that's constantly running around. And if Cade doesn't want to do, unfortunately, he's the best player on the team, so he's going to have to start running. You're going to have to start giving him screens, get him open, do whatever you do. Like if you're going to play a defensive style team, like Detroit tends to do, or even like that 04 team, or then 04 through 2012 or whatever. You got to have that guy if you're going to shoot mid, because Cade's a really good mid-range shooter. You could easily have him come off ball screens, just like Rip used to. If you're going to run that type of team, I don't know. Maybe they're not. Maybe they are running more of those screens. Maybe I haven't been watching a lot, but you got to find ways to get him open. He's the best shooter on the team besides maybe Bojan. But I mean, in a sense, he is averaging 22. So.
And to go off you, I watched a little bit last night. Bojan didn't look good either.
No.
He had flashes of him, but like stupid plays, like just boneheaded plays. I'm not saying he's stupid, but like just boneheaded plays where he was just I saw one turnover, he just passed it to the other team. Like, like what are you doing? It's like it's almost like, you know what? Maybe it is Monty, because like they just look lost.
He needs to be camped out in the corner and just spreading the floor out. Is what
Monty
needs to do. Yeah, Monty needs to be out in the corner trying to spread the floor. No, Bojan for sure.
I like that answer though, everybody.
Sure, man. Yeah. There's a lot of blame to go around.
Mm-hmm.
Gores, Weaver for sure. Gores is right up there. I mean, dude, the guy doesn't give two craps. You can clip this right here, man. I mean, Tom Gores, sell the freaking team to somebody who gives a shit.
Right.
You clearly do not. He doesn't. He hasn't said anything. Dude, we all care. The people who are around here, we care. And you clearly don't. He's not the problem with why they're losing. He is a problem with the franchise. Like, Monty had no choice, dude. He had to take this deal. Like, it's almost irresponsible to his family to have not taken the highest paid coaching deal in NBA history.
Right.
Okay. And I don't blame him totally yet. He's probably the last on my list. Obviously, Troy Weaver's up there. Gores is right there, because like if you're going to pay the guy the highest ever and you're having him come to California to talk to him about this contract, you obviously don't give a like you're not at in Detroit. You're not I think I've talked about this before. You're not there being like, "Hey, this is our city. This is our stadium. These are our players." You're having him fly out to California to work on a contract for our team in Detroit. Get out of here, dude. Sell the team to somebody who cares, please. Like, we are begging you. Please sell to somebody who gives a crap. Anybody who cares. You're going to make money. That's what this was about, clearly. Like, the team is probably worth 3 times whatever you bought it for. Just sell it, dude.
To a sports talk podcast.
Yeah, just give it to us. After that, I honestly, dude, all right, if you go back into last season, they've lost 44 of their last 48. Okay, it's not a new situation. Dwayne Casey's to blame for this too.
Mm-hmm.
And he still has a seat at the table.
Right.
Dwayne Casey is as much to blame as anybody, I think, other than Troy Weaver. He's sitting there. I think that's part of the issue with having a young team like this, is there's no vet to be like, you guys need to listen, man, to what this guy's talking about. These guys got to do what they wanted. That's kind of what Dwayne Casey's MO. Like, hey, just play free, do what you want to do, whatever. Monty Williams comes in way opposite of Dwayne Casey. I need you to play defensive set basketball. Not just whatever you feel like running around. And you can tell watching like Cade, Ivy, those kind of guys, they're not into it. They're not feeling, they're not used to that. Cade's used to doing whatever he wants all the time. He's being asked to do things. Maybe it's time for Cade to go. I don't blame Cade. I think that's the situation he was brought into. That's what he's been comfortable with. He needs to be with a legit vet that will be like who he could look up to. There's nobody on our team he can look up to.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't one guy there that he'd be like, I need to listen to this guy. There just isn't.
For sure.
And that sucks, dude, because he's super talented. He's a guy who can make a giant difference on so many teams, especially ours. But I don't remember the last time I saw him interested in a Pistons basketball game. At least the look on his face. Have you ever seen that kid fired up?
Yeah, right.
Can you recall the last time you saw Cade Cunningham fired up for an and one, or to take a charge, or to back up a team? Like I cannot recall any time where I've seen Cade being the dude. Like, this is my team. I really care.
Right.
Right.
So after Dwayne Casey, I blame the players. Because I don't feel like they really give a crap anymore. And I don't blame them either.
Right.
They're towards the end of the list. And then I have Monty. Because he rolled in. He had to take that job, dude. How do you not take the highest paid coaching salary ever? Which inspired me. Because I thought like, oh, Tom Gores gives a crap. But he just thought, oh, okay, that's what we're paying. I'm good to go. I'm a billionaire. I live in California. I don't care. You say that's the guy? Okay. Well, hopefully that wins.
He's like, go Warriors.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, he probably is. He probably has courtside to Warriors that he doesn't show up to also. I remember the last time I saw him at a Pistons game. It's not like I want a guy who's like Mark Cuban, but somebody in the middle.
Right.
Who's there, who cares.
I'd take a Mark Cuban.
I would love a Mark over what we got.
Like a
1,000 times, 1,000 times Mark Cuban. You at least know that he's like fighting with you. Like he cares the way you care. Right? It probably more so. Well, I would imagine more so. He's actually got skin in the game.
Yeah, he's got skin. He's got real skin.
All I had to do was subscribe to Peacock for a couple of games a season. That makes me feel like I got skin in the game too.
Yeah, some would say
I don't know. That was more than anybody wants on Pistons, but that's why I wanted to bring up. It goes back to 44 out of the last 48. It's not just this year.
Well, it needs to be brought up too. I mean, we don't have to talk about them every week, but when you're in a historic losing streak, something needs to be said. You know what I mean? We can't just skip over that.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the Red Wings real quick. Since we recorded last week, they're 1-3 on the week. The offenses look pretty good. The fourth line has actually looked pretty good since Kane has come in. The team's averaging about 3.5 goals in the last 4 games. The problem, I think, and we've talked about it before, is the defense. They've made mistakes, just not penalties, but boneheaded plays. But really, it's the goaltending. The goaltending has been not good. And, I posted this on our Twitter or X or whatever when they got beat by Ottawa 5-1 that it wasn't all Husso.
Right.
It wasn't all on Husso because a lot of those goals it was shorthanded while Detroit was on the power play and they were breakaways. It was like 2-on-1. And it's like, great goalies are going to have a hard time stopping a 2-on-1.
Right. Yeah.
And you add in defensive mistakes from the defenseman, and it's just a bad.
It always seems like you're seeing like them skate down the ice 2-on-1, and then Husso's sitting there, and I mean he's not the great goalie. They could definitely upgrade, at goalie. But I think, you're right on money with it. I mean, it's not all him either. Like,
Right.
I mean, we've seen Hasek and like Osgood lose 2-on-1s. I mean, those are all-time
Right.
goalies in Detroit uniforms, you know.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, Huso's not good. I mean, with all that said, he's good for 3 goals a night. And Reimer, oh my gosh. That
About to
guy,
say.
jeez, oh Pete. I was watching last night and the first goal, I mean, given there were people in the way, but the puck literally went in the net, was on the ice, and then he did a move. It was
Saw
the
that.
most insane thing I've ever seen in my life.
Cringy, dude.
Dude, it was bad. It ranks right up there when he dodged the puck. It was like a month ago when it was going in the net. Like it was coming up towards his like shoulder. He moved out of the way.
So,
What are you doing,
I don't wanna
dude?
get hit.
And I get it, you're blocked and whatnot, but dude, you got to know that puck's coming somehow. You can't wait till it hits the ice and the horn's going off to make a move. It was like the horn went off and he's like, it was bad. And then the goal with like 0.2 of a second left, that was terrible too. So, you know,
Hey, I warned you guys about Reimer. Did I not?
yes, you did. But I mean, when you've got, so with that said, obviously for me, Lyon needs to start getting the bulk of starts. I don't care if he's not the hot hand, he needs to just get in there. And then Huso needs to be the backup. And Reimer just needs to be injury duty. You know what I mean? It's not. Huso's going to be Huso, right? I mean, we've talked about this before.
Mhm.
Huso's good for 2 to 3 goals a night. Right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. The defense is really what worries me. You know, Eddie, I said I put it on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it last night, was, you know, not having Larkin in, Comfer, Perrin. I like to say Perrin. I think it's Perrin. Perron, thank you.
Yeah.
Not having Perron in.
I don't even know if that's
things.
right. That's how I say it. I think that's how I've heard it.
It is Perron. It is
Okay.
Perron.
All right.
And then having to call up Zarnik and Bergen and Aston Reese or something like that. I only it was kind of cool to see because like
you were just watching those guys, right?
Yeah, we were just watching these guys a couple weeks ago. And actually I thought like Aston Reese, he's started every like first line every time we've gone. And I'm like, how long is this guy? You know, like is he
You like that kid? You like Aston Reese?
He's all right.
Why are we not bringing up Edvinsson? What's up with that?
I don't know. I was just what I was gonna bring up was I don't understand that because the defense is struggling, and I don't know if it's just because Lolan doesn't want to break up chemistry with the lines, but something needs to change. So anything needs to change on the defense, on the blue line, right? Yeah, the blue line. Something needs to change there because it's not good. Just bad plays. Just, you know what I mean? It's kind of like I said about the Pistons. Like sometimes it looks like they're just lost. You know, and I don't know the answer to that. I don't have any, you know, extensive knowledge of hockey. You know, I have a good portion of knowledge, but not like,
for sure. Yeah,
you know. So, and Edmondson, by all accounts, has played great in Grand Rapids. I mean, he's played, to me, like it would be sweet to see him and Mo Sider play together on a line.
Yeah, I mean, if Wallman's not in, for sure. I just hate to break up those two guys. I just feel like that is such a good tandem.
Right. I mean, yeah, you got to keep them two together.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could put Evanson with I
A
mean,
lot of guys, I
who's
think.
the
I
fourth
mean, he's
line?
just kind of the beast of whatever line he's on, right? And then
Mhm,
the other guy's more of the shooter,
mhm.
even though Edvinson's a shooter too, really.
Um,
I don't know.
yeah, he's so like he just glides, and he's so
Mm,
big. Edvinson,
it's beautiful.
he just glides around the ice. You can tell he's gonna be good. So, um, yeah, I positives. I think Sprong has played pretty well. Um, Fabry until he got hit in the face last night. Uh, he's played really well. I felt like,
Yeah, he's gotten on
um,
a run.
yeah, Fabry's played well. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. You would think Edvinson would have been the first one called up, but what
Must
do
could
I
be
know?
something there, right? That Lalonde's not huge on.
Yeah, I don't know. So, um, I did. I kind of went on a tangent there. I don't know if I if I touched on all your guys' points. I just I've been watching a lot of Red Wings lately. So,
That's fair.
um, did you have anything to add to that, Dean?
Just that they've just been kind of streaky. You know what I mean? A little bit inconsistent, especially as you were saying on most. I think mostly on the defensive side. It feels like they're just getting a little too over aggressive, and the defenseman gets too far up, and then all of a sudden it's that 2-on-1
Mm.
down the ice. And I think maybe that's part of the issue. I mean, I like it being aggressive, but I don't know. Like you said, I don't know. Like
Right.
what's being too aggressive for a defenseman and what isn't. When I play the NHL game, I just whatever player I got, I'm skating up the ice with him.
Yeah,
I don't care what he is. So
running my
I
own
don't know.
offense out there.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Am I a left wing or a center? Nobody knows. But so I feel like that plays a role. I think they're still trying to find that chemistry, and then of course Larkin being out, as you said. I feel that plays a big role, especially these last 3 games, starting from the December 7th, since it'll be.
See, and like right now, like we're recording on Tuesday. It's the end of the second period. They're down 4-3, and after one, they were up 2-1. Sider and Wallman both have goals. Bergeron has a goal.
Oof.
Guess who's in goal tonight?
Reimer?
Huso.
Huso. He gave up 3 in the second.
It's like his Reimer was in last night, so I'm assuming he's not in there tonight. And
So that's another thing too. It seems like they get goals quick, and then all of a sudden it's just back to tied, or now the other team's up. Like, how did they score 4 goals in a minute and a half, dude? Like, what?
I think that's also, I think part of it is it's so two-sided. I think part of it is the guys Yzerman was looking for, scoring defensemen. What was the big thing we talked about over the summer was they needed points bad, and he's been really aggressive in getting point scorers, especially on the defensive side. I think a lot of the vets that he brought in. I mean, even if you look at the draft, Palika, Axel Sandin Palika, he's a scorer. Defenseman Edvinson. I mean, he's kind of a scorer, even though he's kind of more of a big guy. But I mean, you just said it. Sider and Woman both have a goal tonight. They're both scorers. As defensemen, they're better scoring defensemen than they are defensemen.
Right.
Which is great. But then we also have given up 4 goals. So I don't put 100% on Huso, because he's an okay goalie. I don't think he's somebody who should be giving up 4 a night. I mean, the last time he played, he gave up 5.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I was going to talk about. I mean, Reimer gave up 5, Line gave up 4, and then before that, Husa gave up 5. So it's not like huge, but it feels like Lion's been the best so far. I mean, I think we all agree on that. but
Well,
he's also had the least amount of time in the net also.
and you know, one thing I had read scrolling hockey Twitter, Red Wings Twitter, is that Huso is just out of like someone's like he's out of position a lot. And I'm like, you know, never really thought of it like that.
Once they
And I
bring it up
started,
and you look,
yeah. And like tonight, I'm looking at it right now, highlights from the first period. Their first goal, St. Louis's first goal, he was out of position again. And look, you can see it. And like again, I said I don't have extensive knowledge of hockey, but you being being a sports person, you can just tell these things, and it's like, you know, we also watched two great goalies in three great goalies if you want to count Vernon, Osgood, and Hasek, right? Growing up,
Yeah.
well,
you
you
know,
talking
you,
about that Hasek, because I used to feel that way sometimes about him, but he
right,
was also the dominator. I feel like
right.
Huso tries to like I don't think he's purposely. If to me it's like an impersonation of Hasek. It's just not
But he's not
Hasek.
Hasek.
Right.
Right. But then, like to add to that, it wasn't just watching those guys. We got to see Martin Brodeur and um
Mm.
I can't remember the goalie for the Blues, but Grant Fuhr.
Oh yeah.
Those goalies and how
Lafleur.
good they were. The Fuhr. um,
Thought
so
about
like
giving him a wave, but you know what? I'm gonna hold back.
Good call.
Good call. It's probably a good call. Trying to get us
canceled after
canceled,
30
right?
episodes.
Yeah,
Trying to get us canceled.
So yeah, you see that, and then like by all accounts, you watch Lion play and you don't see those things, right? Like it happens to everybody, obviously, once in a while, but like it just seems to be a reoccurring thing with Huso. And then Reimer just doesn't know where the puck is.
He's just guessing. This is guesswork out there.
Yeah,
Just spread out across the goal. Like
I think Reimer's just past his prime, right? He's just not there anymore.
Reimer's past his primer.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I honestly, I don't know. You've watched Kosa. I think I would rather have Kosa slide in there as opposed to Reimer.
I've thought about that.
Just on a once in a game kind of thing. I mean, because I don't feel like Kosa, because he's played. I've seen him on the main roster before. He's not. You don't expect him to give up 4, but he could.
Yeah, he could.
Right. And now we have a better scoring team, so he could be better. I think Lion, I think, is just, to me, he's just more of a more simplistic goalie, and I think that pays off for him a lot of the time until the shooters really figure him out, because he's not doing all the extra stuff that you see the other guys doing. People are like, oh, he's calm, but to me, I think he's more just like, I'm just playing it straight up. He's playing it like if we had the talent to be an NHL goalie, I think that's how we'd play. Just like, okay, here's comes the shot, knees go together, right? I feel like it's going to the 5-hole. Like, I'm just gonna try and do that.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna try and stop it there. Yeah. Oh, here it comes towards my glove. I'm just gonna try and catch it. Not like I better catch it and wing it around, or get out of the net and try and fling it, down to the blue line. I think we would just play like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna try and stop it and then dish it out to the guy that's close to me.
For sure.
Like that's what I've seen out of Lion, as opposed to I feel like that's the difference, and I don't know. I mean, he's probably gonna start doing some wacky shit now, but
He's like, you gotta start doing this.
Throw it up and headbutt it out of the air or something.
He's like, if you stay out of position, your saves look so good.
I mean, that's true. If you have to dive and knock it away with your stick at the last second, then yeah, that looks sweet.
It looks sweet. Yeah. It's highlight reel, baby.
So Kosa's save percentage this year is 9.9 well, not we'll say 90.2%. It's 0.902, but it's 90.2%.
That's
Um,
not great.
no, it's not. But Hutchinson, who played a good game when we were there, his is 89%. So
Yikes.
yeah,
I thought you were
yeah.
gonna
Like I
say
said,
better.
Kosa.
He's like, but Hutchinson, 89.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why I said, we've talked kind of about it before with Kosa. It's like he could probably just stay down there and get more development. But I mean,
reps are reps.
yeah,
Bring him up. Let's go.
That's tough.
can't be
That makes
worse
me
than
feel like
losing
he's going to
six
give
to
up the
five.
same as Reimer. I mean, because
Yeah, but at least
you're
you're
going to
getting
take
him
30 NHL shots, right? And maybe you only give up 3, but if you're giving up 3 on 30 in the AHL,
right.
you know,
No,
Right.
those guys slapping
probably
them hard.
going 5 out of 30.
Maybe, and you
Maybe
also got to
10.
think about like the defense too, right? Like it's not
True.
all.
I mean, that's a great point. Yeah.
Like I've watched a couple games where I'm like, man, outside of Edvinson, it's not looking too great on the defensive side. They're getting they don't have um, a lot of time on the offensive side.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Again, my sweet knowledge.
That is pretty sweet.
Um, Wallander only has a goal. He's played 20 games. Edvinson has 6 goals, 10 assists. So
He's a scorer, man. He's a
yeah,
big scorer.
he's a big dude. Big dude. So all right. Well, let's move on real quick. I have MSU first, but I'm just gonna get into Juwan Howard real quick so that we can move on to MSU.
Cuddies.
Juwan Cuddies.
So Juwan Howard was in the news this week for another confrontation, this time involving strength and conditioning coach John Sanderson. Sanderson didn't travel with the team to Iowa. Initial rumors were that it might have been a physical altercation. Those are inaccurate. It was actually verbal, but nothing
Allegedly.
official. Yeah, still allegedly, but
It's all
nothing
alleged.
official. Right. Nothing official has come from the program. Obviously, he's on a zero tolerance policy after the whole Wisconsin thing. But also nothing's been said from the program. So, yeah, just it's frustrating, right? Because you want to put your stock into someone who loves the program, right? But at some point, it's like this dude's temper is going to get him into real trouble. And then on top of that, he had that heart surgery and everything else. So it's like, um, I saw someone say that they should let him go and have Martelli be the coach, but Martelli's not really the long term solution. Um, so I don't know. It's just kind of up in the air right now. They're they are what they are. I think they've played above expectations for they're supposed to be. We'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting to see what comes out, right? And see
Mhm.
what happens because they're investigating it. The school's doing an investigation with it right now. They're probably already done with it, but regardless, we'll see what happens. But I did want to put that out there. One thing I did want to get into before we get into our last segment is Michigan State and the struggles that they're going through right now. And I wanted to get your guys' I don't know, admittedly I haven't watched a lot of Michigan basketball. I do when I can. Just with we're two of us are parents. Dean, you're working all the time. It's just one of those things where college basketball is not really on my radar compared to like the Red Wings or even the Pistons at times. Lions are playing right now. Lions have my attention, that sort of thing. So,
Is it
obviously, as
Lions
yeah,
playing right now?
no, they have my
Oh,
attention.
oh, sorry. I
They
thought
have
you were
my
saying they were
attention.
playing right now. I was like,
No,
what?
no,
What
no.
are you watching right now?
Dun dun dun
I was like, you
dun.
talking about like Penn State or something? The Nittany
Tuesday,
Lions, of course. The
Tuesday
volleyball,
night football.
right? The volleyball match is on right now.
Tuesday night football on
Yeah.
Peacock. um,
Soon enough, I'm sure.
yeah. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on Michigan State because they came in they were preseason top 5, I believe.
Mhm.
As it sits now, I believe they're 5-5. Is that right?
4 and 5.
Four and
4 and
five.
5. Not ranked. Um, things are struggling. I have a couple questions for you guys, and then I'll let you go. Just for something to think about. I'll just ask it and then I'll let you guys go. Do you think it's the talent that is recruited, or do you think it's Izzo himself? And if it is Izzo, do you think it might be time for him to retire, or does he, being the coach that he has been for Michigan State for so long, he have a free pass to coach until he wants to be done? With that said, um, I'll start with Dean because I'm sure Eddie
Yeah, I
has a
don't really
little
have
bit to say on it.
I,
So,
like you, I really, college
Yeah.
basketball, I really haven't been paying a lot of attention. I keep up
And
with
that's
like,
fair.
their record and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's tough when you ask that about Izzo because it's like you don't want to see. I mean, I don't think it would be a permanent thing or a yearly thing, but you never know. You don't want to see that happen to a coach that's considered one of the all-time greats, and that, especially for Eddie and I, I mean, childhood wise, like, I mean, he's always been there, for in my eyes, anyway. I mean, maybe not necessarily for Eddie, but, so it's tough to say, but I mean, I would say yes. I would say he can coach as long as he wants, but I mean, at some point, it's got to, something's got to change, and I think he knows that. I don't think he's completely unaware of his surroundings. I think he's a pretty aware guy of what's going on, and if he can still do it or not. But I mean, it's tough. I wouldn't say. I don't know. I don't know, man. Like maybe it's scheme. Maybe the guys just aren't buying in as much. Maybe they're not playing as hard. Maybe he's not, coaching with the same intensity that he did for the last however many years, 20 plus years or whatever. So
Would
I mean,
would you
for me,
say? Sorry, would you say like if he's still coaching with the same intensity that he had back in the late 90s, 2000s, that it might actually be detrimental in this day and age?
in this day and age, I mean, you have to
You
you
know?
have to play that line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's a fine line, and you have to ride it, especially as like a college coach in anything. I feel because these are still. I mean, they're young men, right? But
Right.
essentially, they're still kids, and they're still trying to pick up the game and everything like that. You know what I mean? Like speed wise and everything. But I mean, and in fairness to them, I mean, they lost to some good teams too in their 4 and 5 stretch, as they normally not normally lose to it, but as they normally play these really good teams. I mean, they lost to Duke, right? Already. I mean, they play them once every year, right? Is that right, Ed? Did they play Duke yet this year?
No,
Michigan
I don't
State?
think so. But they've only lost to one team that's not currently ranked, and that's Nebraska.
Maybe I was looking at the wrong schedule. So I don't know, man. It's tough to watch. I'm not buying too much.
No, they
stock
played Duke.
into-
Yeah, they played Duke.
Okay. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was like, maybe I
Early, real early.
Early
Yeah.
on. I mean, they always do, right? They always play
Mhm.
one top team, early on. I mean, I don't want to buy too much stock into their 4 and 5 start. I mean, we've seen bad Michigan State teams that have made the tournament by the skin of their teeth and, got to the Sweet 16 or even the next round, which is, what we want at least. So I don't know. I mean, as of right now, I'm not trying to hit any panic buttons. I hope that he turns it around and gets these guys playing together.
Yeah. I don't know. The loss to Nebraska got me concerned. They were. It was one of those things before then. I'm like, okay, the teams they've lost to, I mean, they've been playing well, and the Spartans have not. I mean, I've watched not every game, but most of the games, and I hate to say it, but they remind me of the Pistons but they have more talent than a lot of the other teams.
Right.
They can't shoot, dude. They're not shooting. I mean, they're they're a real rough jump shooting team, and they keep trying to take a lot of jump shots. When they're a team that has the athletes to take it to the hoop, and so it's just bewildering to me. And I'm sure that that's not what Tom Izzo wants. Uh,
Right.
but I mean, that's what we're living with now. I mean, he's Izzo's got to step into the future a little bit, man. I mean, he's not a big portal guy. I understand, and I don't think it's a talent thing because they recruit. He has been recruiting good good players,
Hmm.
but we're still missing guys. Like I'm not saying they should have tried to get Hunter Dickinson in the portal, but a big man like that in the portal,
Hmm.
because that's obviously what they're missing. But he's not a big portal guy, even though one of our better players over the last 5-6 years was a portal guy in Joey Hauser.
Right.
Him and his brother came from Marquette at one point in time, and he's got to mix it up on what he's got on his coaching bench. I mean, we brought back, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was the head coach at Northern Illinois for a few years, who was on state staff. He went to NIU, didn't do great. He brought him back. It's like that's not helping us. There was a time where guys who were head coaches at other places who were doing well were coming to Michigan State to be one of his, like Dane Fife, when he was the head coach at IUPUI. Uh, this was quite some time ago. They were doing pretty well, and he wanted to come and work on Tom Izzo's staff, even at that time, and then
Right.
try and parlay that into something better. That's just not happening, and he's kind of just helping his buddies out, and then we lose to Nebraska or Wisconsin, and he just, Izzo just feeds the red meat to the fans. He was saying stuff like, we got to forget about the lawyers and all this other stuff. We got to get tough and, put pads back on at practice and, do all this stuff, get tough. But it's like, dude, that's not the issue. I mean, it is a little because they're not taking it to the net. And if he says that, I hope that shows out. I'm not saying that it's a panic mode situation, but I think you can't fall into the idea like that happened with the Red Wings where all you care about is extending the streak, because I think then you fail.
Right.
Then you end up with what that we had between the end of the streak and to where we are now. When that's all you think about, it's like, well, what can we do to make sure we make it to the next thing? It's like, no, what can you do to make sure we're good for the next 5? Not how can we just sneak in? Like we were celebrating a Sweet 16 last year, dude. That's not Michigan State basketball.
Right.
Especially with how the bracket lined up. I mean, I know that Kansas State kid was going nuts that game, but how it shook out should have been a Final Four team. I mean, most other years, that is it. Like, a lot of people were raising a banner over a Sweet 16. It's like, dude, is that where it's come? I mean, is that where we're at now? We're gonna hang Sweet 16 banners, Thrilling 32 banners. I mean, what are we talking about here?
Put this banner down.
Yeah, the talent's there. Like, and I don't know what he's got to do. Xavier Booker was the highest rated recruit that Michigan State pulled in a top 5 recruiting class. Kid doesn't play. If he went to Kentucky or wherever, like, even if they didn't think he was ready, they would just be like, okay, go out there, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's not Tom Izzo's MO. He likes to scar kids in the first year or two, and then they come through in the last junior, senior year. But I don't know if that's going to work anymore.
Right. A lot of
You
these kids are
know,
ready
like
to go.
everybody transfers after a year now if they're not playing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would never. I could never be on here unless like they were doing like a Pistons for situation to be like Tom Izzo has to go because he's earned the right to walk away when he wants, but at least walk away at a time where it's still like a top 10 program.
And not do
don't
like
let
what
us fall
D'Antonio
to
did.
Yeah, don't do what D'Antonio did. Exactly. Don't let us fall to a perception of a bottom 30 or top 30, you know what I mean? And they're at the peak, you were a top 15, top 10 team. You know, and then just kind of just coasted out. You know.
And I don't think I don't think he's that guy.
The fire's there. I think he wants to win real bad. I just don't think it's hard to get out of what's comfortable, what's worked for you. You know, we're not doing anything different, and you got to mix it up.
Right. So, okay. Well, we'll keep tabs on him. So, last segment, college team name game.
Oh yeah.
You got your pens?
Pen. Blank paper.
Pen to pad.
Pen to pad.
All right. You guys have any guesses on what conference we are doing this week?
The Independence.
No, it's like 4. The American Conference.
Is that it? There's only 4?
No, it's something like that. 4 teams.
Well, it's the Army, Navy.
Navy is no longer an independent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where
Threw me for a loop. The American.
Oh, really?
That's how I knew. Yeah.
Oh, for real?
I had to do a double check
Navy's
because I'm
in
like,
the American?
Yeah. I had to do a double check. I thought I was in.
Oh, your ass is grass, Debo.
I watched that game and I feel like I should know their nickname.
You really should.
Oh.
You'll get close, I think. At minimum, I think you'll get close.
I'll get close.
If you don't
if
get
I'm
it.
not right. If I'm not right.
All right. You guys
American.
Ready?
Okay.
All right. SMU. I should have said Southern Methodist.
Yeah, that would have thrown me off.
Tulane. The University of Texas San Antonio. UTSA.
Jeff Traylor.
University of Texas San Antonio.
I actually watched them a couple times this year.
Yeah, I mean, I put some bets for sure. I think that's kind of kicked it up for me this year. There's a lot of the bets I've laid. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I'm feeling good now.
It's the dogs.
The dogs.
His dog.
Give me
All
them
right.
dogs.
Memphis.
You talking Penny, dog?
Yeah. Is he still there?
I would guess. Who else are they gonna get?
They had some like.
Oh well, Calipari was there for a minute with Jalen Rose.
I think they had some trouble with the NCAA.
Yeah, because of Calipari. Oh, with Penny also.
No, Penny.
Yeah.
No, he's still the coach. They're good.
They're
good. Sorry, Penny. Damn. South Florida, USF.
University of San Antonio, Texas.
I picture the guys.
Rice.
The Rice Minutes.
Text. UTS. Oh. Hey, you can go. Go ahead.
Navy.
Taking a shot in the dark here.
All right. North Texas.
You know how many
This
times I
one
played with
actually-
North Texas in NCAA?
They changed their name. I believe. We'll find out.
Nikes.
Go with what you think, but I think they changed their name. I might be wrong on that.
Good.
UAB, University of Alabama, Birmingham.
Starting to second guess my Tulane.
The Dows.
No.
It's the Panthers. Did you get UAB, Dean?
Yeah, I wrote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Florida Atlantic. Huh.
Yeah, you thought that was interesting, huh?
FAU.
Yeah, weren't they in the MAC?
Say, that didn't click for me. I think your is the same thing that clicked for me once you said it.
Probably.
Sadly, I don't know their names. So I'm gonna write
They
down
played
some.
Central. I think we went to that game
Yeah.
in the bowl game.
We did.
The
All right.
Dogs.
Ready?
Well, that and
Uh,
Tom Herman's the coach down there.
Yeah.
I know some of these because I was looking at potential coaches for Michigan State.
Charlotte.
Flair?
Ooh.
Charlotte.
So that Eddie said he wasn't going to get number wrong.
Charlotte. No, hold on. Charlotte. There's something about Charlotte that's super familiar, and I'm trying to remember what they got. They have a name that's like something another team has.
I don't know. I'm
You're
playing
looking
this.
You're looking
Playing-
off to the left there. You gotta.
I'm
you
just
gotta-
staring into my kitchen.
Right. He
And
has
I'm
a
like,
huge
it's
paper.
gonna come to me.
I've doubled down.
I know
on a
they
couple,
share a name with something.
I've doubled down on a couple of nicknames.
I don't know. I don't know, Charlotte.
You got.
When I hear it, I'm gonna punch my phone
Well, let me tell you this. You're
right
right.
in the screen. Tell me what.
You're right.
I know I'm right.
All right, Tulsa.
They share the same name as Tulsa.
No, they don't.
No, there's no shot.
Holy sh!
Tulsa, I know, has 2 parts to their nickname. If that helps, Dean.
No. Doubling, tripling down.
Somebody I went to school with went to Tulsa, and another person I went to school with went to Tulane. So, and Tulane
Really?
was in the Super Nintendo NCAA football game.
Oh.
And shout out Doug Brotherton, right?
Hey, yes, sir.
Temple.
Ah,
Yeah,
how about that?
yeah, crazy.
It is. That's a little too crazy. The Dogs.
The Dogs.
Last one. East Carolina.
Oh yeah. Come on.
I love their
They
color
got-
scheme.
They
and their
they
logo.
got smashed up earlier this year.
You're dead. By no fault of their own. All right.
Feeling real good about that, huh, Bill?
All right, here we go.
I missed 2, but other than that, I got them.
You guys ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
SMU. What do you guys got?
Mustangs.
Mustangs.
That is correct.
All right, this is where it gets a little dicey.
The Stangs.
Tulane.
I put the Golden Dragons.
Oh, so close.
It's not
It's a
close.
green wave.
It
Green
is the
wave.
green wave. All right.
They have a big green
UTS
wave as their symbol.
Yeah.
Dang.
A little bit resembles a dragon.
I would say so.
Okay. UTSA.
The dogs.
I would put the Miners.
I only know this
No.
because of the. No, well, you're close because of UTEP, but
Yeah. I couldn't think of
it's
anything else.
Roadrunners. Jeff
Yep.
Traylor,
The road,
head coach,
yeah.
almost went to A&M. That's the only reason I know that one.
Yep.
I do
Very
remember
recent
playing
history
with
for
them
me.
on the NCAA too, because they were
I watched them like 3 times this year. Don't know why.
I did put money on them once for sure.
All right. Dean, Memphis.
Well,
Tigers.
Yep.
Huh?
South Florida.
Bulls.
Bulls.
Got it.
No, there's a couple I knew I got, but then
Rice.
Owls.
Owls.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Navy.
The midshipmen.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's right, dude.
Let's go.
Nailed it.
Let's go.
North Texas. There's no way.
I put the Wildcats.
What's your wild guess?
I said Wildcats.
Oh, Wildcats. Oh, I thought you said what? It's green something. They've always been green.
What'd you put?
They were, huh?
What was your answer before you keep
I just
guessing?
put green cats. Yeah, I thought it was a green cat something. So Wildcats. I was like, that's not crazy. They were something like that before.
The mean green.
The mean green.
Yep.
Stupid.
I think they changed their name, right? Like
What's a stupid name?
All right, Dean,
The
UAB.
mean green.
Dragons.
Oh, that was close.
UAB?
Yeah.
They're not. I mean, sometimes dragons do blazers.
Yeah. The Blazers.
Yeah.
They look like dragons,
The
though.
dogs. I mean the dogs. I just thought. Yeah. All right. Continue.
All right, Florida Atlantic, Dean.
I put the Owls.
Yes.
Correct.
I thought I was like, dude, there's no way.
What a stud.
All right, Charlotte.
I don't even want to.
They're the Wizards.
No.
I like how you said that.
They're Wizards, Charlotte.
What'd you
They're
put?
like,
What'd you put?
I put, well, no, because I didn't write down. I just thought they're like the Chargers or the Steelers, some kind of football
What was
team
your
that's like
answer?
big.
What was your answer?
I wrote Chargers/Steelers.
Nice try. It was the 49ers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would never guess.
Yep.
Those pieces of crap, dude. That's stupid.
East Carolina, Dean.
What was that?
East Carolina.
East Carolina?
Yep.
Did you skip all the way down?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. The Pirates?
Correct.
That's it.
I remember the logo.
Yeah. I love that logo and I love their color scheme with the logo.
You big Pittsburgh Pirates fan too?
No, I do like their logo.
The logos look pretty similar, I think. In my head, they do.
Yeah.
No,
I
Color
just
is a
like
little
that. I
different.
like that
Pillage.
purple and gold color scheme with the pirate. Yeah. Tulsa.
Dragons?
Dude, you were closer with your Tulane guess. The Golden
I
Hurricanes.
just thought one of the green ones was the Dragons. I thought UAB was the Dragons. I thought.
Well,
Dude,
they're-
UB looks like a dragon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I thought one of them looked like a dragon. I was like,
I don't know.
Put it down.
Should I
3
give it
times.
to you? Because it's not the Hurricanes. It's the
A
Hurricane.
golden hurricane. I know it's hurricane. But when multiple golden hurricane are on the floor, they call them the Hurricanes.
Multiple hurricane.
Then don't give it to me, dude. Whatever.
Give it a minute. Give it a minute.
All right, and Dean Temple.
Put the owls.
Yeah.
I thought
Three
it was-
owls.
I thought it was crazy. I was like, there's no way there's 3 teams in the same conference named the Owls.
Yeah, dude. It's like when I said Temple, I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So Daddy went 13-1.
Someone say it's a who hen.
No, I missed 2. I missed
Oh, yeah, you
North
did miss.
Texas
Yep, 12-2.
and I missed Charlotte. And you could say I missed Tulsa if you want.
No, that's fine. Dean,
I didn't write an
enough.
S.
3. You went 8-6.
All right. 3 owls.
It says
baby.
hurricane with a star next to it.
Right, yeah. You just started that ass, huh?
Oh, come on.
All right, cool. All right. Winning records. So all right, cool. Well, that's gonna do it for this week's episode. Thank you all for tuning in this week. We really do appreciate it. Shout out to, I guess, Jason Dawson, huh, for commenting.
Oh,
on the
shoot.
Facebook
Yeah, I wanted to
page.
talk about his comments, but I totally missed that.
That's a new episode.
Well, maybe I'll put on the breakdown for next week. Yeah, no, shout out to him, and he even put a screenshot. We're his 3rd most listened podcast. Look at
Nice.
Our guy.
Our guy.
that. Our new guy, Dooley, you screwed it up. So no, thank you,
Thanks,
thank you.
man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Appreciate it. So, if you like today's episode, hit the like button, subscribe button, comment your thoughts on if you're worried about the Lions or the Red Wings, how many you got today with the conference name game, or if you just want to say hi. So, feel free. With that said, everyone have a great week. We will see you next week for first ever Christmas episode. See you then.
Sports Talk.